What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cousin Cecil Show. I'm your host, Cousin Cecil, aka probably the most regretted guest on PSXP now after my joke of a question for their episode. But, yep, it's Mike Fowler, like usual. How you guys doing? I'm doing okay. I'm holding the line. I'll just say that. If everybody knows what that is, you get it. I'm holding the line. Me with my 2 shares of AMC and 8 shares of Nokia. I'm holding the line. I got diamond hands. And also I'm pissed off. Not pissed off. I'm more mad at this crypto app called Binance for taking maybe 3 or 4 days too long, I feel, for me to invest in Dogecoin. But that's another thing. I might talk about it in the middle of the show, but of what's going on with GameStop, but it's not really gaming news, so I don't think it should be mentioned. But yeah, this week's been good. Very interesting, and like I was talking about the stock market for America and stuff, but I've been doing pretty good. I feel pretty good, and I did get some more games, which sounds dumb how I say it, but I just had I lucked out. I was able to obtain like about $60 in PSN money because of either like Sony rewards, GameStop rewards. So luckily I got like $60, like I'm saying, for about basically maybe $2, $3. So I felt pretty good on that, and I bought a couple of little sale things, some really old games, like I got Yakuza 0, Ni no Kuni Remastered, and I rebought in a way because I've had it before in physical. Then when it went to PlayStation Now, I kind of sold it for cash or credit. But I got Metro Exodus, the Game of the Year version, with all the DLC, so that I am prepared for when they put in that patch for the PS5 version of Metro. Because you've heard on Game of the Year specs of our episode of Cousin Cecil, that's one of my favorite games I got this last year. I got it from last Christmas, and I just got it on sale. The Game of the Year one was $20. But yeah, 4 games I've played this week. I have been playing this other game that's also on sale, but I got it through PS Now. This dumb game called Season After Fall. It is just a simple, very simple platformer. It is also in that same category as Easy Platinums, but this one definitely goes into a time-consuming Easy Platinum. Like, it's not like Chicken on the Road, Road Bustle. Ain't no 10-minute platinum, but you can get a platinum on it for fairly easily. No missable trophies, and you play. It's like I said, platformer with a cute little esque. It is basically low budget, and no one's gonna like it who plays it. But it's like a low budget Ori. You play as a little fox, and you just jump from, just little platform missions. There's no combat. I believe Ori has a little bit of combat for a person who's never played them. But just the idea of you get that same whimsical forest-esque shit like that. But then obviously it's been going into Fortnite. I also got to play a couple more. Not the full chapter, but I'm a little bit halfway into chapter 2 of the Walking Dead's final season Telltale game. And still great. I will say that. I don't know if, again, I tried really hard not to see any spoilers before or ever. Like, especially when it was brand new, and especially, how, like, kind of funny could be talking about it on that certain day or whatever. Never. So I don't know anything about it. I think it's cool. I'm been trying to figure out a way, maybe me and my fiance will watch all the Walking Deads on our Netflix with 10 seasons. But I just know it's a very quiet, dry kind of show. So when it's like you can have, I know that like I've watched season 1, which is only 6 episodes, but I know that one's like you could have 4 hours of just conversations, no action, and then a bloop. Whoa, that's some crazy stuff. And you get back, so I understand what I could get into, but yeah, because the reason I say that because I like chapter 2 of The Walking Dead's game, and I met the Whisper kid, who obviously wears Walking Dead skin like they do in the show, like in the later seasons. So that's very interesting to me. But, and then also more recently, right before the show, I got through chapter 1 of Yakuza 0. And if anybody doesn't know what Yakuza is, it's basically it's a game from Sega. And they're on this, well, technically the 8th installment, but it's the 7th one, Yakuza 7, because the Yakuza 0 is obviously 0. And Yakuza 0 is a prequel, hence the name, but it's a kind of like, I don't want to call it Grand Theft Auto, because there's a little bit more focus on what's the story entail going on, but they have such out of left field antics happening while the story is going on. So the idea of, I don't even want to ruin the guy's name, but obviously Yakuza, you play as the main guy who's been in the first 0 through 6 games. Kyrim, Kyrim. But he's a fresher Yakuza guy in Yakuza 0. And long story short, to what I know at the end of chapter 1, he was framed for a murder or a bad whacking. So yeah, that's all I know. But the reason I'm saying like it has its own flavor is because you meet him. He meets up with his buddy who's in majority of the games later down the road. Can't remember his name, but so they're trying to go to this bar, and these two guys are drunk in front. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna beat these guys sober. So you go through this whole little. They have a really good. I like the fighting in Yakuza. It's just an arcade brawler with a couple different poses your character can do. You can either be a little bit faster, like a more tactical person, grapple. But I'm digging it. This is my first Yakuza since PS3 time to try to play, and obviously I got it for $5. And for people who are listening who wants to just dip their toe in it, it is free on Game Pass. I won't lie about it, but obviously in the long run, they had to wait longer to play it on Xbox, since Xbox and Japanese games don't usually mesh until this past couple years, since Phil has been pushing to get some of those games on Game Pass, or even just on Xbox, period. But I dig it. I did have some trouble on the end of Chapter 1's boss fight, but I pulled through it. It makes you feel good. But the reason there's mini games too. So like during that little bar mix, you're like, you know, I'm done drinking. Let's go. I play karaoke, and you have to do a budding game, and there's a bunch of mini games. And so you can, after you get into the open world, you can go do like bowling. You can go to an adult store. You can go to a restaurant. It kind of has like what, if you ever played Persona, where you can do something in the middle of the day before you start really pushing the story forward. But it looks fun, and I'm obviously definitely gonna stick through it because it's pretty fun. But I'm having a feeling. I think we talked about last week. I'm probably going to get into Resident Evil 7. And if I had a better setup of my house, or maybe I got to just figure out how to do it, I would like to stream Resident Evil 7, because I have never played it past maybe the opening the door of the house and like seeing like the first videotape you find. I don't even think I've been... in the basement. The part with the scare jump of the basement. That's as far as I've got. I get jumpy, so I'd like to probably even show myself on camera. Because obviously when I stream, I usually just do the full image of the game, but we'll see. But because Resident Evil 8 has been getting me hyped up, or every time Resident Evil does. I hate that I get FOMO about that series. But yeah, that was basically me for gaming. Alright, and then on to some news. The long game that's been in limbo for so long, Biomutant, this action RPG, has came out and said we have a release date. It will be out on May 25th. Still a PS4, Xbox One version, but obviously they've been in limbo for years. So I'm really glad to see it come out. I've been excited. It looks really cool. I like the aesthetics of like that animal world in Animal Kingdom with swords and shit. That was pretty cool. That Raya and the Last Dragon will be $30 to rent on Disney Plus. And the more sad part was I thought they said it was going to be $20 on their investor call. But I'll just cry in HBO Max because I think it's kind of crazy. I'll accept if you wanted to rent it for $20 because that's what has been going on the past year. But this whole idea of owning a service and then you still have to pay $30 just because it's Disney, get the fuck out of here. A few new details on the IO Interactive Bond game has came out, and this will be an all-new digital Bond that is not inspired by any of the Bond actors. So, which probably a good way to look at it, since the movies are transitioning to a new actor after Daniel Craig leaves after this one, I believe. I could be wrong. Maybe there's one more. It's an original story that could be turned into a trilogy, which has been normally going on with, even look at how Hitman is. Hitman's been done 1, 2, 3, and now it's over that story. IO has 200 employees right now, and they're expected the number to grow to over 400. I think some people are like, oh, can they handle it? I think it would be great because if what I've been watching of Hitman 3, like I watched, this is pretty funny. I was watching the Girlfriend Reviews video they do, and they kind of matched it to Untitled Goose Game, which is just a bald man walking around trying to do hijinks to make the NPCs get scared or something, which, if you take a step back, that's what it does. It's pretty funny. So the idea of having them already know how to work, kind of, because there are some funniness into the NBC world of IO games. The idea of having an actual Bond do some real espionage, like the idea of maybe drop a briefcase next to like the data center, put something in somebody's drink or put a little tracking device on them without them knowing. Like they should be actually in the right playing field of this. And then they can just work on getting more players or workers into maybe like a car part of the game. Or the idea, because they can handle shootouts, kind of. But the idea of what a Bond film does is the gun is more like it's not important. Like a Hitman is not important, the gun. So I think they might be the best studio for it. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see more information when it comes out. And then also, just more for, I should have said back when we were talking about Resident Evil Village, apparently had a loss. And I feel sorry for this idea. The voice actor for the villain, not the tall white lady, but the bloodier daughter, Jeanette Mouse, M-A-U-S. She passed away. She was age 39. And she she just lost her battle with she didn't have any colon cancer. So I just more wanted to say it out there because the idea that this game's going to be really big, and long story short, this might get brushed off the side. Just remember that voice you might like in the show, since obviously she's going to be one of the main antagonists. She passed away. It sucks. Hopefully your family's doing, like, handling everything you can do accordingly, of course, but, just thinking about them. And then jumping back into news, the next Tomb Raider game will merge the original timeline and the current timeline into one. So we'll see how that goes. I have no word about that, but I brought it in because Netflix announced two things. One, that there's going to be an animated Tomb Raider series. We'll see what timeline they use for that show. If it's going to be more Shadow and Rise Tomb Raider, or go back to the classic Lara Croft. We'll see. But also, they announced that Netflix is going to also do a Kong Skull Island anime show. Probably closer to how Godzilla has, is it Action Point? Godzilla Action Point coming? Oh no, Singular Point. That's what it is. Singular Point. Where they obviously show Jaguar Tiger and all that shit in the anime. So, looking forward to it. And then, also, I guess I'll mention it. I don't know why I've been avoiding it, but the Snyder Cut had some flip it and reverse it, and also gave us a release date. Apparently March 18th, the Snyder Cut will come out, and it will be not a 4 episodic show. It is now going to be a 4-hour cut of one cut movie. Well, one cut in the sense of like The Irishman. How The Irishman was 3.5 hours, and there you go, on your own. So we're going to get a 4-hour cut of the Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I'm okay with it. Obviously, now I'm just more wanting it to drop so we can get past this, and maybe I'll see how I feel. Obviously, can't get any worse, but can it get better? We'll see. I think 4 hours of explaining might help, but we'll see how it goes. But at least I got to say it on the show. I've been avoiding it, and now we got a real set in stone thing, like the release date March 18th on HBO Max. And then I just was thinking, oh yeah, I can do a quick little synopsis of the GameStop story. Totally not about video games, just apparently some loopholes in the American stock exchange, where apparently it's okay for hedge funds, so these groups of very high, very wealthy people grouping their money together, and they've been doing this for years, generations. I won't say, long time. The idea of they find, usually retail markets are the ones that are in the right place, right time for these situations. Not saying all, but the idea of they can see that GameStop stock was priced at, let's say, I'm making up numbers now, but let's say it was $12 a share, because back in August it used to be $4. But with the knowledge that they know they was so lower, they're like, you know what? We can invest a $12. We can invest and buy a shit ton of shares of GameStop at $12. Knowing, and we are hoping, by the time they ask for our money for this stock, the GameStop stock will drop down to, let's say, $8. So, long story short, by the time that these hedge funds normally would pay back their stock of paying for the stock, it'd be at $8. So they technically it involves like a $4 profit back to them, in these weird long style of how hedge funds work. But this time, there has been these Reddit groups, and the main one in particular is Wall Street Bets. They are doing everything all legal, and probably a lot more legal than like a hedge fund would do, in the sense of these guys are just regular Joes. They don't have insider knowledge, in the sense of like how, a hedge fund could technically, without ever admitting to it, But they're so high up they could have knowledge without anybody knowing. So these Wall Street Bet Reddit guys have been just making moves in their discords, and doing gambles, real gambles. Apparently, like, some of them made money late during the year, and then this GameStop was their next target in the sense that they realized through common knowledge and using data that is open to the public, they're like, hey, GameStop's value of their stocks are overabundant. So there's these hedge funds. Basically, they bought stocks to make the price go up instead of down, like how the hedge funds wanted. And now there's a group of regular Joes holding their stocks so that by the time, long story short, so the hedge funds will have to pay the differences that they were betting off. And they're losing billions of dollars while regular Joes are holding the stock. And then they're just crying because they realize that regular Joes have caught on to the formula that these rich 1%ers have been using. So that's why it's funny. And I hope, and then they obviously, Wall Street Bets showed the formula of like, these are the other businesses. Hedge funds are kind of fucking over the business. Hence AMC. Hence knock. Hence, I saw BlackBerry. Since all these little things. So the idea of having this group of masses go and buy these certain stocks, and that's how, when it happened, that's why GameStop stocks skyrocketed from like I'm making up a number because I don't know the starting line. Let's say it was like $28, but it made it skyrocket up to almost hit $400. Because the hedge funds, of how the stock exchange works, will have to buy more stocks to help balance out their losses. It's a long, weird, dumb economic process, but it bumps each other's heads. But at the end of the day, the way that it's going to hurt hedge funds, not regular Joes. I do not know anything about if it's going to hurt the actual company of GameStop either. But the idea of it's hurting these 1%ers that take advantage of, the American government, or not government, the economy. So, take it all with a grain of salt. I'm saying I'm not no fucking financial advisor. But the idea of, and then there was some real fucked up trickery with like a common average regular Joe app like Robinhood, where we're like, it's for poor people, basically, to make stock exchange. They stopped letting people buy GameStop, and that's a whole nother thing that could become a class action lawsuit, but go look into it. You guys should just open up the idea that right now there is this is a thing I can get behind. The idea that it shows that the U.S. economic setup is not made for poor people to make any money whatsoever. The Wall Street Bets guys are showing that here's a way so poor people can get money, and that's why there's been, like, the media will start turning it to show, like, what is going on with the economy, and make it sound like the Wall Street Bets guys being wrong. But to my knowledge, and what I've been watching and understanding, it is just a fluke because it involves, this is going to be probably, if it happens the way that Wall Street Bets assume, this will be the biggest change of economic growth that changed hands ever in American history. So yeah, look into it. Hold the line. Have them diamond hands hold that baby till we go to the moon. That's the part that ruins the whole movement. Is when we sound like monkeys going to the moon, diamond hands, and like all those kind of slogans, hold, or even like the crypto version of hold is HODL, but it's still hold. That's what ruins the movement for everybody. That's where you can't catch new people. And that's where it kind of gets funny. But I do like seeing hedge fund advisors on TV crying, saying that it could go bad, and they're talking about because it could go bad for them. You would not be crying if it was going bad for you. If you don't believe me, go Google some 2008 pictures of when people did Occupy Wall Street in 2008, and the people above them smiling, waving down, the rich people looking at the poor people on Occupy Wall Street. So take that in the thoughts. But yeah. And off that weirder note, I'm just going to more pop off these quick fire things that I see, because obviously I know this is a shorter podcast again, but honestly, I think it's just because there's not that much stories still in my eyes. I mean, I try to do my best. Shout out for The Medium to come out on GameSpot, a 9 out of 10. I heard that it's still in that weird middle range of Metacritic. But just so you know that, for the next coming Lego Star Wars game, that one that's the whole Skywalker saga, Babu Frick, this fucking dumb puppet that's from the Rise of Skywalker, he's going to be playable in the game. What is it? I guess rest in peace, Cecily Tyson. Also, I can't remember her, but she's obviously an actress. And then also, apparently the Sonic voice is stepping down after his role for 10 years. I'm not sure why. And apparently, if you got, I didn't even bring it up. I should have. If you didn't trust Snyder cut people about Josh Whedon until you found out that he wanted Vision to have a big ass fucking dick in Age of Ultron, that's where we get that weirdness from him in those movies, because he's on a different fucking level. Oh yeah, rest in peace, Larry King. Who gives a fuck? And then I'll probably put that as that. But yeah, also I guess just to more mention, Willy Wonka is going to have a prequel possibly coming out in 2023. I can't remember the two younger actors into it, but it's going to be a prequel about him getting the chocolate factory. And then Fortnite brought out another hunter for the skins, and you can get G.I. Joe's Snake Eyes. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's basically it for the show this week. This week's hot picks for music, it's a song called Gravity featuring Tyler the Creator. It's from Brent Faiyaz, Faiyyaz, DJ Dahi, and then of course Tyler. This week's comics, I like to say, coming in March is going to be the Alien stories out of Marvel. Like, that's when issue 1 of Marvel's run of the Alien universe. So I think that's going to be a really hot pick, because obviously I've been really enjoying, or I think I'm going to enjoy. I'll probably pick that up. Probably my first Marvel comic I bought in years. But then movies. This week's hot pick is going to be on February 5th. Malcolm and Marie is coming to Netflix, which is that movie with the guy from Tenet, and I don't want to say her name wrong. Zendaya, the girl from Euphoria that I've been watching. Obviously, the Spider-Man franchise. It's the movie that was filmed in the first couple of weeks of COVID-19, so it was like during quarantine. And then also I saw this anime is going to come to Netflix too, called High Rise Invasion. It's apparently like a horror-esque, like action fighting anime involving, long story short, this person trying to get out of this high rise and leave this because a bunch of psychos are invaded the high rise, and he has to fight his way out. But yeah, and then honestly, I will probably not until it has to be, we'll see on the coming up hot picks. This WandaVision shit, I still can't put a little stamp on saying, yep, because we watched episode 4, and this can be not even barely even a spoiler. Hopefully you guys watch it, but obviously be warned. Basically episode 4 was what was needed to make anybody who didn't like episode 1 through 3, make them feel tolerable. We got to meet Monica Rambeau before she became Grenadine in Wanda's town. And the cooler part I liked was it showed how it was to be a civilian after Tony snapped everybody back. Oh, excuse me, when Hulk did, because obviously Tony just snapped Thanos away. So the part that you watch, basically a bunch of dust particles collect them together and become Monica Rambeau again, that was pretty cool, and she was in a hospital. It was very chilling to see like everybody start popping back in and like stuff, and like the idea that you watch a hospital involve people coming back from dust, and also they were still running for the past 5 years and stuff. That was very intriguing for the Marvel Universe-esque part of it. I really like Jimmy Woo. I know I said his name wrong in the first time we spoiled episode 1 and 2. I'm sorry, but obviously, long story short, if you've been listening to the Cousin Cecil show, I think I'm pretty close to spot on to how it's leading. I think I've also said it's all on Wanda's head in the sense that she's going to be the bad guy because she's gone not crazy, but she's so upset. She's kind of a little deranged. So that idea-esque is still cool to be on that side of the ball of being correct. There's still some mysteries going on. But the one thing it was a good episode, the best episode they've had, but it was still lackluster. When the Marvel fans are out there just talking about that Jimmy Woo's character perfected the card trick and not really talking about the show, I think that's a red flag of signs. Because that's, cool for character development. You made him learn the card trick that Ant-Man showed him. Blah, 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 bullshit. Because the idea that it's still kind of lackluster what's going on with the show. But it's getting better. But also I'm a person who was okay with the whole show since episode 1. Probably because I'm a letdown DC fan in the sense I'm used to getting minimum effort. So yeah. Maybe that's why I don't mind it. But yeah, we're going to keep rocking and rolling. And then again, of course, hopefully... follow me on Twitter at MikeFowler93. I've been posting almost daily a new set of fleet TikToks I've been finding because I've been going down the rabbit hole of TikTok. And I've been just putting them on my little fleet so everybody can enjoy the funniness I've been finding. And also, I guess I'll just say it here more. I am going to be almost full-time, not full-time, but I'm on the roster of the Garbage Opinions podcast that I've been posting into my RSS feed during these times, here and there, like one on Christmas, blah, blah, blah. We're still it's being set up the kinks, but you can also follow a Garbage Podcast on Twitter, and that will be, that podcast is running, but they're working on getting its own feed through the Drop Tent Media because Adam and his co-host Neil run Drop Tent or some shit. So sooner or later we're gonna have its own feed like that, and I'll set up a link through mine. But also, hopefully you guys follow a Garbage Podcast because also I'm running that Twitter handle, majority of it, like let's say 75%, the other 25 might be the other guys doing it, but I'm the one going to be trying to be the funny one behind the veil. But yeah, also twitch.tv/Cousin Cecil, that's CUZNCISEAL. But things are moving and shaking. Hopefully this goes into something. But again, thank you all for listening. Till next time. Be good to each other. Peace.